Good evening. Welcome to Cosmic Reid Live here on WDW News. Today, I'm Cosmic Chris Reid. It is so nice to be with you once again for another week, talking all about stuff from Disney parks. As always, we are going to talk this week about some of your most favorite Disney merchandise, your oldest Disney merchandise. And we do have some photos from people that were submitted on Twitter of their oldest merch, and there are some really cool photos. We'll be getting to those in just a little bit. Jeff and Angelina are also here as always, and we are going to be talking about Disney merch the entire hour, showing off some of our old stuff as well. Guys, how is it going over where you are?
Silence. That's how good it's going. It is going fantastic. Happy Monday to both of you. I love seeing my favorite
Happy Monday
in person. Yes, it's fantastic. Things are going good. I'm wearing one of my favorite little symbols. I will show it more at depth later. But yeah, very excited, very excited. And it seems like with each thing I read, like we're getting closer and closer to maybe being able to, if you're one of the lucky, I guess, like 15 people they're going to let into the parks on the days they open. I don't know. We're closer and closer to at least having the option, which is extremely exciting over here.
Totally.
So.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah, Big Man and I are super glad to be here too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're good. We're getting closer to things, I guess, somewhat going back to normal. It's going to be an exciting time. I mean, Universal has already opened up, so we'll see how that carries on and keeps going. But honestly, that was sooner than I thought. I was thinking like the fall. So the fact that they've already opened their doors is a little bit surprising to me, but you know, they can't lose money forever, right? That's the thing.
Well, I was going to say that. And not only that, I mean, I guess I fall in kind of like that pessimistic camp as well, which kind of makes me sad. I guess as I look at myself, I should maybe try to be a little more optimistic, such as Universal was, because honestly, if you look online, I mean, things seem to be rolling pretty good. Right? I mean, I don't know if you've heard any horror stories, but I mean, they opened kind of their version of downtown, Disney Springs, and that was going well. Pass holders went, and then, I mean, this weekend it seemed like everything was going pretty well, and it didn't seem. I mean, it seemed like there was enough people in there too, man. It wasn't like it was empty.
Totally. Yeah. No, for sure. It's going to stay low for a very long time. Adjust my volume here. I just want to say hello to everyone in the chat as well. Glenn, I see you there. Adam, Shornforce, Joseph, welcome to the show. Joel with a comment on merch. Has anyone submitted their Shop Disney rejection emails as their favorite Disney merch yet? Yeah, I know. It's super frustrating. And there's even some people in our city that I know that are just so frustrated by it.
How many things have you actually tried to purchase and were just blocked out on? Like this, I read about this all the time. Like it's a crazy thing, but.
I think, like, I'm sure people in the chat can probably, like, tell us, like, I know at least for us here in Canada, I've tried for both of the releases that have happened during this time, and it's been definitely challenging to say the least, but I think that it's probably because a lot more people are purchasing online, right? Like, we don't have the option of being in the park or being in a retail store, so I think people just need to be patient. It's okay. It's gonna, things are gonna come out again, and it'll get better.
Those super exclusive things, man, it is so frustrating because then you see them on eBay for like $50,000 or whatever. You know what I mean? Like that is so frustrating. Oh, yeah. It's like it's the version of ticket scalping. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just didn't know if there was any horror stories. But.
It was D23. This is just an eBay example that I keep running into. They released, I think it was a D23 last year, or they had a bunch of the new pins from the new Epcot pins, like the new circular pins and the new little logos of the attractions. And I don't know if they were $20 or 30 each or $10 each, but someone was selling one on eBay for like $80-90 US, but they have pictures of it and they flipped the backside over to reveal the actual price of the item. It's like, What?
Unbelievable. Yeah.
So
and I know that people kind of like make a living doing that, especially, I mean, like Angelina, I know you were being a cast member down at Disney Springs. Leah and I had accidentally been there one morning, and it was like the morning of a release of a pin, and it was crazy how many people were standing outside, like the big pin hut. You know what I mean? So like this goes beyond like just the whole.
Oh, pin traders don't play. They do not play.
That's true.
Well, play. How's that T-shirt not out there yet? But yes,
I'll make it on Reddit.
Yes, please.
Speaking about merch, the kind of kicker to this Epcot story was the guy also the guy or girl, whoever it was that was selling it on eBay, also had the option of make an offer. So I made the offer of whatever the actual price was. It got shut down in a minute, and they replied and said, like, you know, I worked hard to get this, and I was like, what? Are you counting like your gas money to get in, your ticket to get in? Come on, man. Like, so I just forget it. But I had to do the like, okay, I'll buy it for $20, like the tag says on it. So
I love that you did
stuff like that.
I love that you kind of like called him out on it, man. That's pretty good.
I did. Yeah. No kidding.
Drew actually has been. So Drew just got in here, and I know he's been in the chat talking and complaining about exactly what we're talking about right now. You know, like trying to buy something and then seeing it on eBay for like $300. Wasn't there like a mini purse or something like that? Something came out recently. It was a
recently
collectible.
It was the mini something. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and it was gone within, you know, that. So Joel, look at what you started, man. I don't know.
Joel and Drew.
Yeah,
right the ship. Right the ship, Chris.
Well, so if you look behind any of us today, myself, Angelina, and Jeff, we all have some sort of like Disney merchandise behind us, or we're wearing it. I think we're actually Disney shirts today as well, or Disney inspired shirts as well. So we wanted to talk about Disney merch and kind of ask the question, has your Disney merchandise purchasing experience, your trend, changed over the years from when you first went? Did you always used to go and you wanted that one item, or you wanted something from the line of X, but now you have changed it and you want all of the line from Y, and it's completely to do with what you first wanted when you went down to Disney? I know mine has certainly changed over the years, but there's still certain things that I will get that I used to, but they have to be like special items. See this little guy right here, stuff like that. So we thought that we would share some photos. There are some awesome photos we'll share in about half hour or so. And then we'll share some of our own oldest stuff at Disney parks. And if you're in the chat, let us know what the oldest merchandise you have is from Disney parks. What's some of the most original stuff you have that you purchased, whether maybe it was through eBay or maybe it was at a Disney store. I just like to hear that kind of stuff, because it's really cool. And there's just thousands and thousands and thousands of items, and you haven't even heard of half of them. You see it and you're like, you know, there's the animatronic from like Kitchen Cabaret on like a Pez dispenser or something, just so weird and random. But somebody thought, well, people are going to buy this. So
yes, and
I mean the world of new merch. Right, exactly. Like, so what did Drew in the chat said? The child plushie and my lightsaber from Savvy's are probably my favorite things I currently have. Yeah, that child plushie. You guys see that? The Baby Yoda plushie?
That thing has been all over Twitter lately, man. That thing is actually really fun. Yeah.
He's.
I want it so badly.
It could be losing.
No.
Might be breaking up.
Are you
breaking up a little bit, Angelina? Okay. Are you back?
I think you're back.
Okay.
Are you there?
Am I?
Yes.
Are we live?
I think so.
I swear, every time she starts, like when Angelina gets like very excited to talk about something, it's like she creates this like I guess this electricity I think that shorts out her router. That must be what's happening. And then sits there. You want to try it again? And she's back. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love what you're saying though, Chris, because it does seem like it's like who thinks that some of these things are going to be a great idea, and then out of nowhere, like you said, you're throwing things on to a Pez dispenser and they are selling like just hotcakes. Exactly.
Yeah,
and then everything
sure.
from pins, and I actually just saw somebody mentioned that they have kind of the opening day pin, and I mean that whole business is crazy. I got into that business and I very thankfully got out of it because I was just spending a fortune on those like daily these pins. So that was
it's so easy to do that with those pins, and there's thousands of them. And I remember going to Disneyland in 2014 and going to like the like Aladdin area, and just around the corner, and there were dozens of people with binders and all trading pins, and they were like they were hardcore. They were into it. They were in. What was the shirt going to say about pins? Like it
Pin
was
traders don't quit.
Pin
traders don't quit. Yeah. Yeah, because it was crazy. But we got some good stuff in the chat. Rob saying I still have a Disneyland ticket book from the 70s. That's awesome. If there's no expiry date, can you use one of those?
You can.
Like, yeah. I mean, but I guess it's like then they just chuck it. It's like, well.
Yeah, it's boring. Keep it.
Way to use it. Yeah, no, you gotta keep that thing forever. That is crazy. I love seeing pictures of those. I got to tell you, when you made the kind of request this morning, Chris, I mean, some of the pictures that people are posting are unbelievable. So I'm looking forward to everyone in the chat getting to see those.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, we got a ton of replies on Twitter. You can check them out at Cosmic Reid, but we're going to be throwing up some of those in like around 9:40 Eastern or so tonight, something like that. So let's take it back to what is it? Joel said Joel's going to send a pic to Twitter in a moment. Cool. Awesome. Yeah, well, check that out on Twitter. We've submitted all the ones to our producer Jason for tonight on the show, but I'm going to check those out for sure because they're just so cool. Some of them we got like old school Figment stuff on the way and some really cool merchandise books and stuff. But let's take it back to like when we first went to the parks, and what were some of the stuff that like how is it done? Like for us, we were given like maybe like $50 or $40 or something, and it was like that's your spending limit, buy whatever you want, here's your money, and that was from our parents. So what was it, what did you guys, Jeff, we'll start with you. Do you have opening day tickets or what? I'm kidding, but what do you
tickets? I mean, it's one of those things because like you said, you know, like we didn't have a ton of disposable income, right? So it was like my parents saved up all this money to bring us there. We went, my mind was blown. I would say, you know, that gave me the Disney bug, and then the like infection just kind of like spread, if you will, right? And I got more and more obsessed as I got older. That's the beauty of it. So I remember being a kid, and I had the you know, the ears, right? Because like, I mean, merchandising has come so far from when I was a kid, for the love of God, and to where we are today. So it's like, you know, there's merchandise, like you were saying, Chris, for everybody now. But I mean, I definitely had the ears. That was very exciting. I think my dad had like the goofy ones, so that was very, very, very great. But I'm actually my first stuff, obviously, I would go, and it was shirts. So this actually was a gift. I'm actually just standing up. So this is not official kind of Disney, but I have to say, it's like what I like now. Obviously, I've got the Mickey, Minnie stuff, but what I love, and you'll see in some of the other things that I have, like this Haunted Mansion thing behind me, I love being a little bit inside baseball. Like, you have to know what that is. So, like, people who kind of, like, love Epcot and love the land are like, oh, my God, that shirt's amazing. You know what I mean? So, like, That's
Yeah.
kind of a fun thing. I mean, I've got like a different Mickey Mouse shirt for every day of the week, or like the Fab Five. You know what I mean? So when I was a kid, it was all about the ears. When I actually was able to start spending my own money, I mean, I just loved the shirts, and they know you love the shirts because it's like 4 times a year they're putting out new shirts. You know what I mean? So like every time I went there, I would get new shirts. And now some of those buying habits have changed, which I can talk about a little bit later. But yeah, and then I think I have to just before I forget to not say it. So this is one of my buds right there. So sad. This is the most comfortable thing on the face of the planet to rest over your head on. So I might do this for the rest of the show.
That's awesome.
Where was he last week when you needed a hug?
Oh my God! Oh, you think I'm just? Oh God, this is all I've got right now. All I can do is hug you. Sad you are a little less sad. Not susceptible to COVID. But yeah, I mean, so when I was a kid, I mean, you love like the hats and the ears, and we got like little things, and obviously my Mickey shirt. And now through the years, I believe that has kind of evolved into more of a can Leah and I use it in the house? You know what I'm saying? Because that's what I love most. It's like it's something that reminds you of all of your beautiful trips and the magic, even when you're just cooking or something like that. You know what I mean? It's like always in the house.
Yep.
So.
Yeah.
Love that. That's really, really, really cool. And it is interesting to see how the trends do change throughout the years. From going, I mean, Angelina, what do you got? What do you got for stuff and merch?
Yeah, well, I didn't, like you guys know, I didn't go to Disney until the first year that I had worked at Disney World. So I was a full-fledged adult with my own money. So I have a really, any cast member will tell you that their entire paychecks just went to merch. It just went right back to the parks, whether it was food, whether it was merch, whether it was whatever. So I have a really unhealthy obsession with plush. Figment is one of those guys, but I could probably tell you 50 plus plush that are just sitting in my mother's basement. For one day, maybe my own children, who knows? But the oldest one that I have, which is kind of weird, honestly, it's not very old, but it was the first one that I bought. So I have a Perry the Platypus. These pillow pets, I don't know why they were so popular, but that's, I think, what your Eeyore is as well, right?
Yeah, it's totally what the Eeyore is. Yeah.
I don't know if they really have these guys anymore, but I know they for sure don't have Perry, and I don't think they have Figment anymore either. But he was the first one that I got, and I don't even really like Phineas and Ferb, but I just thought he was very funny looking, so I bought him, and that was my first merch. But I mean, yeah, the amount of plushies that I have, y'all have only seen like 4, but there's so many.
I'm sorry, I have to just show you here. Daisy, can you just get up? No, she's not getting up. I just Mickey Mouse pants. I just needed to say that. So anyways, I'm so sorry for taking
amazing. No, it's okay.
Questions of the past. Is that not what is that Figment then?
Figment is also a pillow pet.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he's.
Oh yes, yes he is.
He's a big old one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. So I have maybe 5 pillow pets, and y'all got to take my credit card away. Whew.
I love the way you said that about like the cast members just end up kind of taking their check and then just kind of giving it right back.
It's exactly that.
That'd be hard for me, man.
With our discount too? Yeah. Dangerous.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll go next. So some of the first merchandise that I got, this would have been back in like 97 or so. One of them is in fact the shirt that I'm actually wearing right now, and I can stand up for this here. It's quite like the basic t-shirt. It's got Goofy on it. It says Walt Disney World. I was a huge fan of Goofy. And it says Walt Disney World. And so I found this in a box today, and hilarious because it actually fits me really well now and was probably way too big for me back when I got it. So I just got a new, nearly vintage Disney shirt that's like the logo is not even worn or faded or anything like that. Yeah, so I really liked Goofy, and I don't have it with me, but I do somewhere have the Goofy hat with the ears, like the huge green hat with the two ears on the side. I remember it being so right. Yeah, so I did that. And the other three things that I got, well, it's one thing, but it was kind of a set, were from Splash Mountain, and I'll hold them up. There's a little delay on my end, so I'm not sure whether you guys can see this or not, but we got Brer. Yeah, we got Brer, Rabbit, Fox, and Bear in the middle there, and he's got a tail. He's got a tail, so that's good. Yeah, the only kind of part that's a little bit weird is that Brer Rabbit's eye is missing half of it. It's just kind of, it's scratched off, like the paint or whatever on one of his eyes is scratched off. But the other two are in like immaculate condition. These are, they sold them in the like splashdown photos are. And I really wanted them. And now actually in Disneyland, they sell like big ones, like the big plushes as well, which is so cool.
They're coming back.
And yes, for those asking in the chat, yes, Brer Bear does have a tail in this one, and you can Tom Corliss for making that one happen. So that's the that's what that's all about there. It's just, I love these guys. They sit in the shelf, and it reminds me of that time. Now I don't usually pick up these kind of plush guys anymore. My wife's a collector of them, but when it comes to certain things like this little guy on my microphone, Dale, because of the Donald Dino Bash and my tie into that with the voiceover stuff I did, I had to, because it was like it's a part of me, and so I needed something to remind myself of the bash. So that's how I have these little guys. But in terms of spending now, it's my trend has changed, because like I was after Vinylmations for a while as well. I mean, I got a whole bunch of them sitting there. They're probably like $2 each or something if you try to sell them. Nobody wants those anymore. But I don't tend to, my souvenirs, sometimes my spending money, I guess you could say, is actually on like food and wine, the reusable gift card, the swipe, fill it with $100 and then just swipe it across World Showcase, because I don't need another t-shirt. I don't need this kind of stuff, and I just think that, that's how my trend has changed. I kind of just do it for the food and the wine now. However, I mean, Galaxy's Edge had opened up and I wanted some stuff there, so I got the Kowakian monkey lizard. I did the Savvy's experience. I got the lightsaber. That's like once or twice in a lifetime thing. So that's how it's changed for me. I tend to spend it more on like, I'm going to go to Trader Sam's. I'm going to get like a few drinks and some food. I'm going to go around World Showcase. I'm going to buy all the drinks and all the food. And that's kind of my souvenir without it being a souvenir, if that makes any sense.
Absolutely, yeah. And then those cards are memories that you experienced, instead of just like having a t-shirt that you got it from somewhere, but you can remember what you did at Food and Wine. I feel like those are almost like it's like a little scrapbook kind of thing.
Yeah, you're like doing the whole experience. And that is actually why I started doing, just because we just don't have a lot of space, right? So like I've been banned from buying anything that is like too much space. So we started doing the pennies, man. So we have like the penny book, right?
Oh
Pennies will change from a couple times a year, like we'll always I'm a sucker for the ones that have the year, because as soon as like 2020 started, it was like, bam, get the 2021s. Except I might throw those out because no one really wants to remember this year anymore. But so let's go back to 2019, New Year's Eve, right? I was there for New Year's Eve. 2019 pennies were like out that New Year's Eve. So that was like very exciting. And they don't take up a lot of space, but they've got your favorite characters, and they kind of, when you imprint that penny, like as long as you haven't had too many drinks at the Food and Wine, it kind of like imprints on where you were right then. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, I was here with Leah or my friend Jenny, and this is what we were doing right then. It's only this big, and it also only costs 51 cents. Another bonus, because pretty sure you can't get much of anything else.
Right.
For that type of thing. And it's almost as if I have summoned them, please, in case you don't know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I mean, look at all of these things. Like these, and again, they've got these, look at all of this. This is so exciting. So it's just funny because every time you can just remember, you know, where they are. And then I am a sucker, so sometimes they get me with the quarters. But still, you know, I legitimately, for some reason, remember where we were and what we were doing each time we get these. Oh my god,
that's cool.
Up a little bit. Look at that, like 20.
No, that's cool.
And where we are, so it's fun. It's like it's just a smaller way to kind of like remember your trips. You know what I mean? Without spending $40 on a T-shirt that will fade, and unless you're you and you'll fit into it a decade later. I don't know.
Yeah. That's so cool. Mandy in the chat said, when will we get a Chris plush from his elite status as voice artist in Animal Kingdom? That'd be hilarious. I'd love to see that.
Love that.
Yeah. I might buy that too. Yeah, that would be funny. You know, and something, so one of the shows that if you've been watching WDWNT live, the shows that we had been doing on Locked In with Eric Morton, which we had on Saturday mornings, we talked a little bit about merchandise once, and I wasn't, my eyes weren't really open to this until who was it? Allison brought it up that there's not a lot of merchandise when it comes to like shirts and that for men at Disney. When you think about it, there's like Mickey shirts, there's Donald, there's like Grumpy, and that's kind of it. Do you know what I mean? Like I was kind of surprised by that, and like, right? And there's all different like styles of shirts for women and that. And I'm not making this like a debate. I'm just kind of thinking there isn't a lot of options for guys, or if you're buying for a family member or a friend that's a guy, it's like Grumpy, I guess, because he's the stereotypical grumpy guy that like, he's such a classic shirt to buy in Magic Kingdom, but I don't understand why they think it's funny. It's just, there's just very limited option. If you had shirts with like cool, like a wide variety of characters on it, I might pick one up, but it's such slim pickings for guys when it comes to polo shirts or just shirts with, you know, nothing crazy. No, it's just something that stuck with me ever since we had that conversation.
That's interesting to say that. I have a golf shirt with like a Mickey on it. You know what I mean? But again, it's Mickey Mouse, right? And it's like kind of, that's actually maybe out of their like whole golf shirt lineup, that might be like all they have. But you're right. I never even thought about that. Yeah. Meanwhile, you hold all the princesses, and Leah buys those things. I tend to find now, like what they've been doing, and we might have talked about this a month ago, but like, again, I'm a sucker for something that I don't even, is really a T-shirt collectible, but it was like when Illuminations went away, I had the Illuminations Final Day shirt, and then, you know, the Epcot Forever was on sale the next day. It was like they completely turned the store over. Everything was gone. And I mean, those things were flying off the shelf. So to your point, it seems like they do a lot of, and Angelina, you being a cast member, maybe you even can back this up, but it just seems like a lot of the merchandise that enters the stores now are time specific and festival specific, and something that's only going to be there for like 3 or 4 months, and then the next thing happens. And I see a lot of people like wearing that stuff now too.
Yeah, it's really interesting how quickly merchandise also gets through. It like you see it for a second, and then if you don't buy it right then and there, you don't ever see it again, you know, and it's gone. And yeah, it's too bad. You got to catch it right away. But yeah, I do find that it is very like event specific now. Especially with like, I love me Figment, and he's only really around during Food and Wine, and it's like, well, why can't I have more Figment without it saying Epcot Food and Wine 2020? You know?
Yeah,
so I totally agree with you there.
Drives me nuts. The dating of stuff where it says 2019, 2020, like get rid of the date. And I get why but it's super annoying because sometimes there's a nice jacket that I maybe see it at like a secondhand store. I'm like, cool, but it says 2013 on it. I would otherwise get it, but that absolutely ruins it. I can't stand that.
Go on,
right?
Chris, go on. Yes.
Super Bowl just said, tell him, Chris. Yeah, no kidding. I'm like, honestly, it just bugs me. It's like, why? Oh, cool. Look at this. Look at this awesome from Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. I love it. Turn it around. Oh, 2017. Nope. Don't need it. Don't want it. Zero interest. Get rid of that.
And am I ever going to wear it again after 2017? No, probably not.
Yeah. That's like, you know, like when you're walking around with a concert t-shirt from like 25 years ago, and you're either going to go, oh, that's cool, or you're going to be like, why is he still wearing that? You know, like, I don't get it. I don't,
about Nickelback shirt again, Chris?
I get why they do it. I get why they do it. And people kind of collect those things, and they don't want people just to buy it once and that's it. But just change the design like you do every other time. You don't need to put the date on it.
Yeah. Wow, you are like, are you going to like flip a table over there? Do we have to call someone?
Yeah, you got to check your Fitbit there, bud.
I have to say, this is coming, I feel like I'm about to get attacked like on poutine night. It's going to be like Revenge of the Poutine Night. I get it because it's, you know, being in like the marketing world, I mean, it's just another way to sell merch, right? And having that date on it, unless you're Chris, who actually vehemently hates it. I mean, people are like, want to show off that they were there for it. I you know, that's why I bought the dumb towel.
No, and it's cool if you like it. Like Arch Fox says, I still wear my old Haunt shirts. Doesn't matter how old they are. Yeah, no, like I just, for me, I just don't want the date on that stuff. I always think it would look good without it. It's that I would like take an eraser and just or scratch it off, and then you got a really, really nice shirt. It's just my preference, but there's nothing wrong with wearing them. But I just don't understand why every single piece of merchandise that's out for these things has and not even just for the parties. We're talking just, you know, Disney 2020, and it's got the characters shaped as the year. It just bugs me. That's all.
I'm sorry. Can I just say Juniper MD just said, for those of us not in the know, what was poutine night? So I was just explaining that's when the American over here got blasted for not properly understanding poutine.
Well, the amazing thing about this is that it's always recorded. You can go back to, what was it, 2 weeks ago? 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Go check it out.
Sean Force says every night is poutine night. Yes. Anyway.
Yeah. Hey, so we're gonna, in about 5 minutes or so, we're gonna go and show you some of the pictures that came out through Twitter of merchandise and that. But I just want to pause for a second and give a big mention to all of the wigs in the chat, because I know there's a bunch of you, and we're thankful that you're joining us. And if you want to become a Wigs member, that's
Wigs roll call.
Yeah, WDWNT. Inner Globe Society. For as little as $2 a month, you can become a Wigs member, and you get access to exclusive stuff and different shows and post shows on WDW News Today. Again, as little as $2 a month. You can go to patreon.com/WDWNT. We got the roll call of the Wigs going on right now. Let's see. I say David, Matt, Carl, Mandy, Snyder, Shorn Force. Let's see. Wigs soon from WW Mickey. Right on. Good to hear. Good stuff. Sean Shortforce again. Yeah. Hey, so that you can do that. And also, if you like the content that you're seeing tonight or any night or day here on YouTube for WDW News Today, you can always donate via the super chat to WDW News Today. It's the little dollar icon below where you're chatting on YouTube. And any donation there is welcome as well. It all goes towards WDW News Today and keeping shows like this and all of our content through all of our different channels going. We've got some really cool stuff planned. So any donation there is always appreciated, and we'll always give you a shout out for that one as well. I think I've cooled down a little bit from my little rant about.
I was going to ask.
I didn't plan that, by the way.
Jason to go to commercial.
Yeah, no. I'm just gonna go take a lap outside. I'll be right back.
Yeah, do that. Couple deep breaths. Yeah. So do you have any? So what is your? So you said your oldest thing. Do you have like your favorite thing? Because like Drew mentioned the lightsaber. I know last week or the week before you were like very heavy on your lightsaber thing. I mean, do you have a favorite piece of merch, Chris? That even if it's not something that's like $1 million, but like just means something to you.
Yeah. I mean, my Savvy's lightsaber means a lot. That was a really cool experience. I know some people love it, some people don't. I had a great time. I thought how they did it was fantastic. It has to be that right now. The little Mickey hat that we got our son means a lot as well. The little Mickey, like the Musketeer hat. I mean, yes. Yeah. So there was that, and there's actually I have a Haunted Mansion goblet that was used on the table in the Haunted Mansion at Walt Disney World. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, they were selling them a long time ago on eBay or something. I mean, it says it's real. I don't know. I mean, I didn't pay too much for it. It was from there was a site that used to sell.
I don't want to get you fired up again, so let's just assume it's real.
I can, I'll grab it. Hang on a second. Talk amongst yourselves, as it were.
Yes. Okay. What about you?
I'm really curious to see.
I know. Yeah, me too. Angelina.
Sorry, no, I was saying
since he's out of earshot right now, we are going to say, that's great, Chris. That's beautiful. Whatever you paid for it, it was worth every penny. That's what we say when it comes back.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Perfect. All right. So wait. What? What did I miss?
Don't worry about it. Nothing.
Okay. Don't.
So excited to see what you got.
Yes.
Talk about short for. So this would be it. And there was a site that used to sell this kind of stuff. I have never, ever put anything in this because I always figure it's full of spirits anyway. There you go.
Oh, wow. Clever.
Leah loves puns.
Yeah.
She loves puns, and she brings it back out here. That's fantastic. That's great. Seriously.
Yeah.
So
very, very cool.
Definitely steal that.
Yeah.
That was worth every penny that you paid for it. Very good.
You know what? It's I love the Haunted Mansion. I mean, I got the Haunted Mansion tattoo on my arm, the wallpaper design. So I just, stuff like that means a lot. And yeah, it's a really cool goblet. It's always funny because when people come over to the house, I'll be like, oh, here, this is in the Haunted Mansion, and they grab it and they're like, oh God, okay, you take it back, like. So yeah, WDW, thanks so much, appreciate it. Yeah, it's guys, show the tattoo. Okay, hang on.
Yeah, Mandy was gonna say, show your tattoo. I haven't even seen it.
All right. Yeah, okay, hang on, I gotta lower the mic. Let's see.
Show and tell.
While Chris disrobes, do you have something from again? So you like.
Very, very cool.
Awesome. You can see it there. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Sorry, Jeff, you said, do I have something that's my favorite?
Yeah, do you have something that, whether it means it doesn't have to be big, small, like just something that like near and dear? I know you mentioned a lot of like plushies.
Ugh, yeah, so many plushies, but no. I think that the thing that I love the most would be when you become a cast member. I don't know if anyone really knows like what you have to go through for training and things like that, but there's this thing called traditions. I've talked about it before, but spoiler alert, hopefully no one's becoming a cast member anytime soon, but they will give you a pair of ears, like a pair of Mickey ears. And you get them when you earn your ears. And I have 2 pairs from the 2 times that I went through that training. So I'd say like my first ears, I don't have them with me here, but my first pair of ears meant a lot to me. And yeah, I think that they're very cool. They're like up with my graduation cap. Sometimes I think they're almost more important than my graduation cap. So that would be my favorite. What about you, Jeff? Do you have anything?
I mean, everything's gonna go part of my, I suppose, my new life, like with my wife. So, these are one of the absurd mugs. We actually do not like drink out of these, but these were, if you've ever gotten flowers sent to someone, they come in these. So it was like for the first time I ever sent my now wife flowers to the resort, and we were like doing the wine and dine. I was very proud of her for training and actually like getting through it. So that was one of them. And then we went back for another one, and it was I sent them to her again. So one came with Mickey, one came with Minnie. So it's kind of great that we have both of those things. And then my other thing, because I am a sucker, I will buy anything with Wally and Eve, as you saw. And every time I go there, I literally ask the cast member, you could get the laughs out of the way.
Here we go.
You can get the laughs out of the way. But when I go into the stores, I just ask cast members to just type in Wally, type in, and if there's anything. And like a lot of times there's like 5 things, one of them being like a holiday ornament. So these bad boys we found at Hollywood Studios, and it is a Wally mug. And look at that adorableness.
Oh, wow. My heart.
Yeah.
Love it, love it, love it.
So I love that. So we are very lame, and we drink our coffee out of our respective.
That is so lame and so gross. That's so lovely.
It's so lovely.
Love it.
So I love those things. Like I like these. I like the things that kind of like remind me of like those special moments and someone else. You know what I mean? Like, kind of the shared thing that you had there. So
totally.
Well, so there you go. We do have some photos to show. So we asked earlier on Twitter today if you had any pictures of your merchandise that was like your oldest stuff, some of the stuff you first got at Disney parks, to submit it to us, and we do have a few of them we're going to put up right now. So the is from Glenn, and this is a photo of a poncho from when it was just the Magic and Epcot. I'm going to show that photo right away here.
That is crazy. Yeah, I can totally see that.
That's so cool.
So there were only 2 parks. That is bananas.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Yeah, just the first 2 parks, Magic Kingdom and Epcot. You can see in the fall there was. So it's pre 89 for sure. Pretty cool. And the second one.
Who sent that, Chris?
This was Glenn Hudson. He is or was in the chat a little bit earlier. He also sent another one. The second one from Glenn is it's like it's 12 colorful scenes from Fantasyland, and you open up the book, and we can show it on the screen there. It's like a passport book with just the colors and the text and it looks like tickets that are there. Wow! It's just really, really, really. There it is on the screen there, yeah. And you can see like A, B, C, D, E, like the different attraction types and that. So I thought that was pretty cool as well. So Glenn, thank you so much for submitting both those ones. Oh, there he is. Cool. Yeah, Glenn is still in the chat. Love it.
Thank you, Glenn. That's awesome.
Carl as well, who I believe was one in the Wigs roll call we just did a few minutes ago there. Oh, here he goes. Yeah, Carl is there. Carl submitted one as well we can show right now. It's a Walt Disney World photo book, great like retro photos, and there you got the Rainbow Tunnel. Check that out. Original Journey into Asia. And I wonder if in the bottom right, is it the Captain EO or is it like Magic Journeys or something like that? The 3D glasses and the 3D films.
Look at Figment.
Yeah. So,
oh my God.
Right. It's got the Dream Finders there, the Rainbow Tunnel and all that good stuff. Yeah. So Carl, thank you so much for that. That's really cool. Appreciate that submission. Next, we'll go on to Nicole, and this is really, really cool. I know people in the chat are going to love this one. Nicole, she bought them back in. Yeah, 1985 on a trip to Epcot, the large figment is actually a piggy bank. Although, if you want another pun, guess what I would call it? It's not a piggy bank, but it's a...
Do it, Chris. Just do it.
Figgy bank!
Oh.
I didn't think of that at all. That was
either going to
very...
be shots or crickets. I'm not sure. Nice job. Schoenforce. Schoenforce.
Yeah, Schoenforce got it.
Schoenforce got it. Yeah. So that, I love that. It's so cool.
I thought it was a... Man, that thing is awesome. I thought it was a...
See, that's when Figment wasn't just a Food and Wine ambassador. He was actually a character that everyone loved, and he didn't just do Food and Wine.
It's so funny.
Hashtag bring back Figment.
Why is Figment like the ambassador of Food and Wine? I mean, I love it because that means he's like everywhere, but like he's
a great cook.
His shtick now, I guess. I guess he is. They don't really show that often, the attraction.
Yeah.
That is.
I
actually
love
thought that was a cookie jar. I wish that was a cookie jar. They should make one of those because I feel like Figment.
Yeah. I would have thought that if she hadn't said anything. And then the second one that Nicole submitted was, she said, from the same trip. So we're talking 85. And this is a couple of retro Mickey and Minnie figurines. And in the photo, to me, they look like they are glass figurines. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know if they're plastic or glass that shine to them. So, shout out in the chat, Drew, once again. Drew, let's keep the show on the air, ladies and gentlemen. I challenged everyone that can donate tonight. Let's keep WDW News Today going. Who's going to join me? Drew, thank you so much for that. Totally appreciate it. You are a champion. We totally appreciate that. It all goes to News Today and keeping everything that we do going here. And that's just awesome to have you with us. Thank you so much for the super chat. But yeah, that figurine.
Post his. I know that Drew did the lightsaber. Did he ever post that to Twitter for you? At some point.
Not that I got this by this afternoon.
No, Drew. If you no, not I didn't know if he had sent it. Drew, send that picture to Chris's Twitter so that we can show that off sometime.
Yeah, I might have seen it. I forget. It sounds vaguely familiar.
Let us know.
There's one more photo, and I know she's in the chat as well. Mandy is here, and this is just awesome because I would have freaked if I would have got this in the mail. Yeah, it was a postcard from her grandma dated June 24th, 92, featuring the Disney Afternoon. And on the back of this postcard, which I also saw, it says premiering this fall. But look at all the characters.
Wow.
Look at all the characters in that. You got Gummy Bears, you got Tailspin, you got the Rescue Rangers, it's so cool. And the fact it says on the back, like premiering this fall, it goes to tell time of it and the date, June. I mean, we're almost, it's almost nearly 30 years. It's to June 24th is when it was dated. So Mandy, thank you very much for that. Totally appreciate it. And thank you everyone for submitting these postcards. I just think they're, and photos of your old stuff. It's really, really cool. Keep submitting it because, as you know, we're super active on Twitter and we like to look at these things and we'll comment on all of them. So. Yeah, there we go. Love that stuff. Good stuff.
I love that we got to show some of those things. It was great. Leah had just brought me this out because you know I'm a Haunted Mansion thing. I mean, just how much I love it. I'm sure you've seen this we had purchased there, but just an Imagineering. Just this thing is awesome if you've never seen the book. I mean, it's just like the
oh wow.
Of the entire attraction. So it made me think of it when you were showing those other things. It's just like it's actually like a really good book. So I mean, if you're a Haunted Mansion fan, this is just Haunted Mansion.
Yes.
Imagineering kind of thing.
That is very, very cool.
Like, I like getting these, right? Just because it's again, we love T-shirts, right? But like this thing has like a little bit of substance, and like I love the attraction. And,
yes.
Here's another pillow, not nearly as comfortable as the latest plushies, but still. But yeah, so Haunted Mansion used to be my weak spot. So just great to kind of be able to read about the tale since it was one of the old school.
Yeah.
But man,
Yeah,
that was really fun.
there are so many like very cool books that I wish they had those books in the library, because I just want to buy all of them. Anything to do with Imagineering is so cool, but they're a little pricey. They're a little pricey.
They are.
Yeah,
This was definitely a gift. Hey, Archfox is in. Yeah.
Thank you so much for more Sprite and OJ. Love it.
All the Sprite and OJ on you.
Totally appreciate it. That's awesome. Thank you for the super chat. Always appreciate it. As someone in the chat.
I mean, they are in there. I'm sorry. Just to complete on this. I mean, like,
go ahead.
You know, you've got like the actual kind of, Imagineers like working on the attraction. And I know there's things you can find, like things on YouTube, but it's just
that's so cool.
I love those things because it's just like takes the mythology and keeps it alive. So I loved seeing everybody's stuff. That was amazing. That was great.
Yeah, and there's some good stuff on Twitter. Rob said he posted his brick and mug to Twitter recently. I didn't quite. I'm not sure if he had tagged us in it or not, but if you can do that, I'd love to see it. And those bricks, I assume you're talking about the ones outside the Magic Kingdom, which are just, I know they're not going to be there, or they're already taking them up, but they were very, very cool. I didn't know anyone personally that did it, or like anyone close that did it, but I know people always love those bricks, and I always take a look, and it's just funny because we just walk over top of them, but they mean something to someone out there. And I think that was kind of the cool thing, right? Mm-hmm.
All of those things
for a while,
kind of before my time, either before my time or after it. But I would say that if those things came back, there's no way that I would not do it. I just, you just want to have some type of legacy there. Well, kind of like the Leave a Legacy thing that I guess got taken out of Epcot, but I think that's
David Lung.
Yeah, and I didn't see the brick either.
Bricks are gone. Rob took that at WDW News today. Okay, I'll put that out on Twitter. That's awesome. I know a little while last year, or was it the year before even, they were selling like kind of like replicas of the bricks, like they weren't an actual brick, but it was the shape of the brick, and you could put a message on it. And they were selling them at Springs, somewhere in the marketplace co-op. Maybe we're getting. This is another thing that just and you'll know this. Anyone from Canada, the shipping Florida to Canada is read the border and then just go down and pick it up and bring it back, but. Yeah, it's just it's frustrating paying all those. What do you guys?
Oh, shipping to Canada is insane. It's so expensive. Yeah. So shout out to all you Americans that you get your cheap shipping, because we got to be real passionate about something before we buy it.
So Chris, Mandy looks like she was about to flip a table like you were about the dated content, because she just says the replica ones are in all capital letters garbage! ! Yeah, mine has totally peeled. So there you go.
Oh no!
Don't buy one of those, guys.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I know that they were on like a limited run or something. They stopped doing them last fall or the fall. I lose track of time with all this stuff that's going on. But yeah, that's terrible. That's really unfortunate. That they probably rolled something out too quick and just couldn't get on it in time. That is really, really too bad. That's unfortunate.
Okay, so I just have one question. What about the dates for the ones that say 1971? Are we okay with that? Is that okay?
Yeah, that's cool. It could say 55, 71. If the studio's 89, cool. Epcot 82, yeah, I'm all. Animal Kingdom 98, yeah. So it's just like I got no problem with that. It's just when they're dated just year after year of like 2013, was that a great year? Like, but when it has stuff like that, when it's like says 71 and it has like the logo, yeah, that's cool. I like that stuff.
Yeah.
It's just not for me. Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe for those folks that are only going like, once every like 5 years, maybe that's a cool thing. It's a big memory for them. but maybe I guess for us that we go more often, it's not as cool, but
yeah.
I think you know what, and maybe you're probably right there too, Angelina. I think that we do maybe take it a little bit for granted because I mean, you know, especially being in Georgia, I probably take it for granted even more than you guys. We would pop down there at least 4 or 5 times a year. So seeing those dates honestly really didn't mean anything. But I mean, if you were going to go as part of a family in, you know, 2015 and it was like your year, I guess maybe I do see the point a little bit more. I get that. Not to upset you, Chris. So
we sure show them some love, you know.
Yeah.
Still, there's no room.
Super Bowl said, I have a 2020 WDW shirt. It's cool if you got it. It's just, I don't, it's nothing that I would buy. But yeah, I know. It just, there's some things I like and there's some things I don't. I will never buy one of those shirts. But if you do, cool. You know what? I think my mom had one back in the day that said 98. Awesome if you have one. Like I'm not saying anything against them. They're just totally not for me.
Chris is getting canceled.
Sometimes, yeah. We just have a couple of minutes. We cannot go.
I don't want
not
to be
much.
For what happens.
We can't go over the hour. We cannot go over the hour today. This is coming from the producers and people, the higher ups. So we can't. So with a couple minutes, I want to talk about next week's show because this is kind of fun. We did this a few weeks back now, where we took not a 2-hour show. Still, we're working on it. We're working on it, but it can't be tonight. So next. A few weeks back, we did Imagineering at the Magic Kingdom. We picked our own kind of original attraction, character meet and greet, restaurant, and show. We did Magic Kingdom. We kind of did a round table on that. We included everyone in the chat in that as well. Next week, what we're going to do is the same thing to Disney's Hollywood Studios, and we're going to create an attraction, a restaurant, a character meet and greet you'd like to see, and a show as well. It has to be like an original idea, as in you can't say I want to bring back the Honey I Shrunk the Kids movie set adventure or the Backlot tour or the Great Movie Ride. Can't be done. So a movie, call it movie ride. That's great.
Yeah,
that's
an amazing movie.
I'm not even asking that on Twitter tonight or next week. It's like, what ride should you bring back? Great movie ride times a million, right? So. So it'll be fun to see what we come up with. But if you're in the chat right now, totally appreciate. We'll go over that stuff next week. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll eventually do all the parks and maybe even though go to the water parks at some point and do a hotel theme like that. We want to do a lot of like Imagineering stuff like that, and we'll do like top attractions and that kind of stuff as well. But this Imagineering stuff I think is really fun.
Yeah, it was fun. I think, and I love like, so everyone in the chat be thinking about it as well, because that was kind of part of the best. That was one of the best things, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like people kind of impacting what we would do, you know what I mean? Because everybody had great ideas in the chat.
Absolutely.
And I love hearing what everybody does. Obviously, I'm going to probably have a Wall-E attraction sometime.
Probably.
There's no way there's no way he's not going to make an appearance. But
it's not going to be a surprise at all. We still love you for it. It's all good.
Yes.
There will be lots of Wall-E, lots of good Imagineering. We got to wrap this up real quick here. So thank you all for the chats. Totally appreciate it. For all the super chats, for all the WIG members that joined us. Thank you so much. We're back next week once again, talking Imagineering. On behalf of Jeff and Angelina, I'm Cosmic Chris Reid. Thank you so much for tuning in. Stay safe. Have a magical evening, and we will see you all next Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern.